You sure it's cookies? Swallowing a watermelon. You swallowed a watermelon seed?
Somewhere in Long Island, and I saw the neck sticking up out of a garbage can, and I just kind of picked it up, you know. Well, us Goldfarbs have a way of adopting kids and things. This one I named Junior because he's kind of like an orphan. I cleaned it up, put blue strings on it, and this guitar is as good as new. It's a 20-year-old guitar. I don't know why anybody would throw away a perfectly good guitar. I mean, I just don't get it. Now, let's see. I'm not used to this. Don't look at me. Okay.
Uh-oh.
When Mom met my dad, and the good thing that they had set their whole world in a spin so long ago. He was a young dental student, a second lieutenant. She a pretty young thing from Buffalo. Soon they had a family. Baby David, he made it 3. Mark and me and Bruce finally made the team. Whoop. Whoop, that's not it either. But finally, Sister Sue. We grew up, we got married, brought our grandchildren to carry back to Mom and Dad in Buffalo. I haven't played this song much. It's a special occasion, this holiday vacation brings us together, the folks' 60th anniversary. Love you so much. I'll be around for the next 6 years. All right, who else wants to turn this mic? Should we just pass this microphone around?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yes.
Where's Bruce?
Very good picture.
Careful. Careful.
Get out of the way.
You're shaking.
Straight.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You know, I've got a big voice. Okay. So what I have to tell you is that you know that David's son, Jacob, is in Japan. And he climbed Mount Fuji. And then he blogged and told us about his experience and how hard it was to walk up there and how they rested. But when he got to the top and he stood above the clouds and he looked down, he was so exhilarated because he did it. He was on top of the world. And that's how I feel. We climbed the mountain. It wasn't always easy, but we got to the top. And we looked down at our terrific children and these adorable grandchildren and these very, very special people who all came. And each one of you is very special to us, and there's a reason why each one of you is here today. For those of us who have reached the top, we're there. For those of you who are still young and taking that climb, I hope you have the thrill of getting to the top and being exhilarated and saying, wow, we did it. Thank you very much. We stayed together for 60 years. Everybody wants to know. What do you want to know?
Helane, you always brag about your children, and rightly so. Okay?
Yeah. They're all wacky, but they're
No,
fine.
but that's all right. But you never bragged about Larry being a musician.
Larry being a musician.
We don't brag. We don't brag.
still waiting to find
Actually,
out.
each one of the kids are very talented. I think Susie was in chorus, I'm not sure. And David, they were all outstanding at Amherst. And that's why when I get a phone call, especially when somebody says, I'm calling about your son. Which one? But it's over and we're all here today.
It's over.
Larry is talented. They're all talented. And the reason why we did stay married, the reason why
We know why.
not everybody knows, and I know it hurts, Sue. But that, when times were tough and George and I weren't too happy, it was terrible because neither one of us wanted the kids. So we had to stay together.
Well done.
But I just wanted to, it's my job, I guess, to thank everybody, especially those of you who came from long ways. Cousin Donna came from Boston today,
Yep.
so thank you, Donna. Bruce and Lane Brock, if you stand up, came from Michigan. Dee and Danny came in from Toronto. The Sturmans, where are you? The Sturmans came in from Boston. Chappaqua, and missed all the. Well, you didn't have to go through the flooded roads because you didn't drive, but each of I'll, since this turned out well, I think, David, I'll take responsibility, but since none of us live in Buffalo anymore, this kind of started a few months ago, and when we started talking about if we were going to come in for Mom and Dad's anniversary, and of course David's in California and I'm in Florida, and we're trying to make it all happen here in Buffalo, and then we brought in these guys as well, and Bruce and Larry both drove long ways. Well, Bruce flew this time, so Bruce flew in from Baltimore. I want to thank them for that.
Yeah.
And Max, and Jessica. Right, I got it right this time? I was afraid I'd get the wrong Jane. Drove in yesterday from Baltimore also.
Yeah.
Larry drove in from Long Island. And I don't know, did I miss anybody else who came in from, Hamburg doesn't count, whatever.
You have to pay a toll.
That's right. White side of the family has to pay their quarter to come in from Hamburg. And Martha and her family came in from Rochester, so, so it's kind of amazing that people have come from all parts of the country to be here today, and I have to thank friends of mine who are not here who we're staying with, because Joanne came over here for me and kind of whipped them into shape. They've never had an adult party in here before. They told me when I called, and I was looking for an alternative to Mom and Dad's house. I really didn't want to impose on Mom. I thought it would be more fun to go someplace than to do it at a restaurant, so I called here, and it took them a month to tell me if I could have a party here. And then after they said that, they said, but we only do birthday parties for kids here. And I said, yeah, and I said, well, it's kind of like a bunch of kids. And I said, well, we'll throw things around and make messes just like the kids if you'll let us have a party here. So they finally agreed to let us have a party, and it just, they were cutting their teeth on this whole thing. So I appreciate the JCC doing this, and I think they now can find out that they actually can throw parties here.
Okay, this is Martha Gearhart, I think. It's not signed. Martha, you're going to have to sign.
Sorry, yeah, it is, yeah.
That's all right. The headline, I call it a headline because that's the kind of business I'm in. This little black thing up above, that's a headline for those of you not in the business. They put up with us, the Goldfarbs were the best neighbors.
Yeah.
Again, someone who doesn't know us very well. They put up with us on Cape and Boulevard. Ha, ha, ha. In the summers, when all the windows were open, the Gearharts would be singing Happy Birthday. Then you could hear the Goldfarbs yelling, can you believe those people? There go the Gearharts again. It's awful, and they call themselves musicians. I remember my mom and Mrs. G hanging over the fence talking Watergate, talking politics, and calling the White House to protest. Sue's bedroom window was directly across from our bathroom. Fritz and I would hang out and we'd toss stuffed animals across the driveway. In summer we'd play handball in Sue's driveway. We played with little Danny. Larry's spider tattoo was much cooler than my brother Kim's dragon. Kim would come home late and yell good night to his pals. Dr. G calling out the window, "Yeah, good night." The Gerhards are loud. Kim is still embarrassed. I remember Sue's cousin Judy coming to live with the Goldfarbs for a while. There was a framed picture at the top of the stairs of a turreted house. I'd seen that house on Nottingham across from Delaware Park. I learned Mrs. G grew up in that house. She told me, "Martha, it was a house, not a home." Dr. G bought me my first Italian ice. He tried to get me to try a seltzer. Yuck. I love the way Dr. G said orange. Orange. So New York. So sophisticated. The Goldfarbs got a microwave and Sue nuked a hot dog for me. She wasn't hungry, she just wanted to cook something in it. We went Christmas caroling in the neighborhood with Sue and Diana and Mary and Fritz. We went trick-or-treating together. Sue always had the best costume. Once she was a litter bug. One year we had these weird masks we wore and dressed alike. Sue would take me along when she sold Girl Scout cookies, which probably was a very long walk, because Sue would not hold second to like anybody.
No. She would make me
Town of
comfy.
Eggertsville bought Girl Scout cookies for Sue. Sue would come over to our house to light the Hanukkah candles. This was always special for me. And since Sue lives so far away now, we have some friends we celebrate with every year. Just give me a minute. But the Goldfarbs started that tradition in our family. I remember visiting Mrs. G on Main Street at her cricket ticket office. And there was a young girl with a dog named Dove who shook hands with you when you said peace. Just as an aside, that was the place where Mom got busted. You know that story, right?
Oh, no.
Running the head shop on Main Street.
It was a ticket agency.
The tickets came in a zigzag wrapper. The Goldfarbs had a couple of bicycles stolen from their garage. They threatened to put up a sign with an arrow pointing to our house saying, "Rob them." At 15 years old, I asked Dr. G, "Do you have any relatives in Poland?" He gave me this look and then said, "There are none left." I was struck. History was not a distant thing right then. It really affected me. These are people I love whose relatives were killed in atrocious acts. It rocked my mind. I'm ever grateful for this experience. I could go on and on loudly, because she's a Gerhard. I have so many memories of being welcomed and loved by the Goldfarb family.
That was lovely.
The Ashkins are sandbagging, they're holding back.
You're right.
We just can't get up and do it.
Carol and I have known Helane and George for about 37 years. You know, how do you do about and 37?
Close enough.
It could be 36 and a half, it could be
No,
37
no,
and a quarter.
37, about.
About 37. Carol worked with George at UB in the dental clinic. We then became good friends. Good sequence, Carol.
Yeah, right.
I remember one Halloween, Helane was seen riding her bike to work, cricket ticket in full costume. How could you tell? Also in 1980, we went to Israel with George and Helane, and some of our family and friends, and there were 10 of us. We went to check in at the Hotel Hilton in Jerusalem, where we had reservations, and the room clerk said we had no reservations, and Helane said, "Okay, we will all change into our PJs and sleep in the lobby." And this is when they were younger and had firm bodies. Needless to say, we all got rooms. Some of us got better rooms than others.
I know. You're upstairs.
Yeah, we were in the penthouse.
The King Solomon Suite.
Now, the next sentence is very telling. There are other experiences, but I can't go into them now.
I thought I'd wait till the 70th.
That was your line. No time. Happy anniversary, George and Helane. We love you.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
We love you so
Where she didn't get it from.
There was one I left out, and this is a really important one. These are the people, I mean, Helane and George have been married for 60 years, but these are the people you have to pity. These are the next door neighbors, the Muzzios. Our neighbors, the Goldfarbs. Here's just a few remembrances spanning some 20-odd years. I'll bet they were odd, too. As George and Helene's neighbors. When we first moved to Ruskin, George introduced himself, and instead of a typical welcome gift, George offered to install deadbolt locks on it. That's a welcome gift still in use today. So you remember that, boys, as you grow up. Deadbolts for the neighbors.
Gotcha. Got it. Thanks.
We marvel at Helene's driving skills. She can back out of the garage, face the street, 0 to 35 by the time she hits the street. Mother's going to have that lead foot fixed.
I never had them. Never.
Watching the Bills play at our house demonstrates true marital teamwork. George is Captain Remote, turning mute on during commercials. Helane advises when to return to regular programming. That's teamwork. The most important remembrance is the sharing of happy times and difficult times, and remembering the Goldfarb philosophy, not to worry. We're celebrating with you over 20 years of being neighbors and friends. We thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Here we go.
My parents taught us about peace, justice, love, and the values that we've absorbed over the years. I hope that I pass on to my kids. And it's a good feeling that they're continued and imparted. And for any mistakes we may have made, it's their fault.
Alan, come on. Give us some basketball scores. Come on, Al. Come on, Al. Come on.
You've done this before.
Tell us about your something.
That's why they gave it world trauma. Where everybody loves it. Everybody loves Ellen.
Speak up.
Yesterday I was at Grandpa Anda's house, and he told me that all Jewish kids think they are the smartest people in the world.
Can't hear you.
And that everybody loves Jewish people. And he was telling me that when he used to teach, all the Jewish kids in his class thought they were the smartest people in the world, and that
Until they what?
until they met him.
And then it was confirmed.
So yesterday I learned that I wasn't the smartest person in the world, but I thought I was. To Grandma and Grandpa, I just remember you guys always came down and Grandpa would tell me his stories about in the military, and I'd hear the same one every day. He would tell it the same way every time.
That's enough, Alan. Thank you. Good job. Don't get to me, okay?
Grandma, I just remember sitting on your lap in the couch, and you would tickle me, and you would play with my toes. And I just,
Don't tell any more family secrets.
you always taught me some good lessons, and you always taught me. You're always a good example. So thank you for everything.
What about her brisket or,
So happy anniversary.
Thank you, Al. Thank you. Give her needs a lot of encouragement. She's very shy. Very shy. Yeah.
Okay, so
Louder.
I know that a lot of my friends at home aren't as fortunate to have such a great family as I have. I know, like, I don't think many of my friends can have this opportunity to stand up here and see all of family friends and see that I still have both of my grandparents, which I love very much, to see that I have all my uncles and all my aunts and all my cousins. And I'm just very lucky to be here and with everyone else.
Do their project.
use all the tools and
Yeah,
things like
and you know, you'll teach them too. Yeah, I saw that online. There's a lot of different things. Car builders.
The hell is that?
I just think it's amazing that two people can stay together for 60 years. Because, I mean, to most of us, that's just, wow, how is that even possible? And I just hope that other people that are going to get married can look up to you and see what can happen if you really try to work at being together for as long as possible. So, great job.
I remember my dad telling me stories all about how the family was, and I remember this really funny story. Every single dinner, Bruce used to spill something.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Watch it. That's where Ellen gets it from. I didn't know.
The milk spill gene.
I didn't know.
Thanks, Doris. Come on, sit down. All right. Well, this is a request from somebody, Mackie Ellis, chose short name anonymous. He asked me to sing this song, so blame Mackie.
Ooh. Where's the spittoon?
Mailbox and nose drops and needles for knitting, walkers and handrails and new dental fittings, bundles of magazines tied up in string. These are a few of my favorite things. Cadillacs and cataracts, hearing aids and glasses, Polydent and Fixodent and false teeth and glasses, pacemakers, golf carts and Porsches with swings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the pipes leak, when the bones creak, when my knees go bad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Wait, but there's more. Hot tea and crumpets and quart pants, pads for bunions, no spicy hot food or food cooked with onions, bathrobes and heat pads and hot meals they bring. These are a few of my favorite things. Back pains, confused brains, and no fear of sinning. Thin bones and fractures and hair that is thinning. And we won't mention our short, shrunken frames when we remember our favorite things. When the joints ache, when the hips break, when the eyes grow dim, then I remember the great life I've had, and then I don't feel so bad. And you take a bow. You know, and what's even more amazing, you never saw his lips move.
Oh, God.